Hello, my little burgers. Right, this one is a little bit off subject. Obviously, people understand what's gone on of late with a certain young 18-year-old that has lost his life. Unfortunately, there's lots of things that have some similarities that I've seen from the footage that I've seen. I'm not going to put the footage on here because I don't want you to go through that. I don't want you to be distressed because it is quite distressing. And it's, in my outlook, it's quite disgusting. It shows the lack of empathy to people and their situations, but it also shows me certain things like where people are closed-minded. And what I mean by closed-minded is they have a preconceived idea of what's going on. And we walk into situations daily. Right now, I'm quite good at walking into situations and assessing what's going on quickly. I think it's because of ADHD or whatever, but we take in a lot of information. But with the footage that we've seen, it reminded me of what happened to me with my stroke. So if anybody has only just got to the channel, we might not understand is I had a stroke. Unfortunately, when Labour got voted in. And on that day, some of my treatment, I was taken to a hospital by my wife, who is EMP. So she assesses daily, understands the differences. She used to work in A&E, so she understands some of the acute side and etc. etc. So she's very aware of what she does. We went into a hospital through understanding of procedures and the issues that a certain trust does down in my neck of the woods, because they keep telling my wife's trust, you can't do that, you've got to send them here, you've got to send them there, you've got to do this. So that we followed what they wanted. So we went to this one particular hospital that we knew had no stroke team, unfortunately. But when we went there, we got seen by the nurses, and the nurses knew my wife, so they, because they've worked with her, they done their little bit of assessment, then got us through to the doctor, but we're having to wait for the doctor to come assist. Now, it's not his fault. He was probably under pressure. He's probably had loads to do. But what did occur was I witnessed someone that was closed-minded. He had a preconceived idea what something is and isn't. Now, if you know me now, I'm promoting something called Be Fast, not Fast. Everybody knows what fast is: face, arm, speech, and time. But I'm doing Be Fast, which is balance, eyes, face, arms, speech, time, because it's important. Because depending on where the stroke happens, in the front or the rear occipital area, changes on the changes what symptoms you suffer. And at the time of mine, I was what is known as fast negative, and this is what the doctor was focusing on, because my wife was saying he's having a CVA, blah blah blah. But the doctor was so focused on fast, he almost delayed himself in making calls and choices. And there's some similarity in that in the actual video to what I've seen with Henry Nowak and what he's going and what he went through. It looks in the video that Henry's police officers that turned up had a preconceived idea, because they went in straight away assuming that Henry had done the racist attack. Which, okay, you will have to go in already having an idea what's going on. But in my experience, you separate two different people, you get them away from each other, and you speak to them separately. You do that so that there's no muddying of the waters, per se. All right. But then what you also do is you listen to both sides of the story. Now, if you've got one person saying, I've been stabbed in his face, can't breathe, you should literally be listening for that. And because it's cues, it's feedback. Now, when you're just asking for a name, if someone can't breathe, I'm sure they won't be able to tell you. They've just told you they've been stabbed. So, surely, if you had decency and humanity, decent um, way of being as a person, and empathy, you would have understood. If someone said, I've just been stabbed, I, you should say, okay, whereabouts? Let's have a look. Let's just see if you need medical treatment straight away, because he's already told you that there was an issue. So you as a police officer or anything else should not have come in thinking anything different. You should have gone, okay, let's just assess like a first aider would do, very quickly, very rapidly, just do a quick once over. But if you can see blood, there was someone else there that told him there was blood. He'd been stabbed, right? And the fact he was falling was because he was passing out. He was literally losing blood. There was internal damage done. So he wouldn't be 100% perfect. So if he'd been stabbed like he'd told them, he wouldn't be able to answer your questions as much as you should do. But as a police officer who was smart and using this thing up here is called a brain. No one else knows how to use it apart from you. If you don't engage it, you don't use it. That was an important part of what they missed. They didn't use their brain because I think they were so programmed, and this is the most disgusting thing about this. They were so programmed about the DEI rubbish. It's created division in a different way. It's created a division to people, and the risk that these police officers now have of making the wrong call, it's making them make the wrong calls because they're not checking. And I think that's how this has all come about, and this is probably the reason why Henry, unfortunately, has paid the ultimate sacrifice for some stupid ideology where they just haven't looked at the facts. I was always taught that you've got to look and find the facts out first. So, being the first on the scene, you're the first responder, you should be looking and assessing everything, not just taking one person's word for something. You should be doing it for yourself to double check because you don't know the whole situation. You might have a snapshot of what they've told you, but that doesn't mean that's exactly what's going on. And this is what the training of a police officer should have been telling you. But because of the DEI rubbish, people are now not willing to take the risk to actually do the right thing just in case they get penalised. You can have a look at how police officers get penalised and crucified at the Devon constabulary they'd done to the police officer that apprehended a young boy who said he had a knife and he had a knife on him, and he actually has lost his job. I think it was something PC Castle or something. That one you'd have to fact check me on, but I'm sure it's PC Castle from memory. But he lost his job because he was doing his job. Yes, he used force, but if someone's got a knife, you use as much force as necessary that you think you need. So if someone's got a knife and they're not releasing, then you need to use more force. That's just a simple attitude of it. If he's not releasing a knife and he's not doing it or not stopping fighting you, give it up. But this is where the problems have come with Henry, because the police are now in a sticky situation because they're in a catch-22. If they had stopped the Sikh gentleman, Digwa, and actually pulled him aside, he would have said, oh, well, you're racist, you're racist. So the card would have come out, the DI racist card, as they always say. Right? People who are always guilty will always pull out the racist card. Because if you're not guilty, you'll talk it out. Yeah, you will converse. You won't have a problem with discussing with the police because you're not guilty. You've got nothing to hide. But when you've got something to hide, you'll call people this, that, and the other. And the fact his family have not had the repercussions that they should have. And that's a little bit of injustice. And that, coming from people like me, ADHD people, is a huge thing. This is why Tommy's gone on a huge rant, because he's ADHD, just like us. We hate it. It is disgusting when these people get away with something. They deliberately hid the knife, they run away. And It's disgusting. I'm sorry, but it is. But I don't want people to think there is that we need to be divisive. We don't need to attack this Digwa and his family because the justice system should have dealt with it, and they should deal with it. And in fact, with the outcry from everyone, we need to make them do more because it's not justice for Henry. I feel sorry for his family. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon here, but I just see similarities in why things failed. And that's what I'm trying to get to, the point of failure. Why did it fail? Why did those officers not do their due diligence? Yeah. And all I could see throughout most of it was they had this idea that Digwa had said he'd been attacked and it was racism. And that's what they hyper focused on. That's what the doctor did with me. He hyper focused on fast, which meant he wasn't open minded to anything else that could have been. Yeah. And I think that's what's happened with these police officers. Now, I know they've got a tough job, and I really do understand they've got a tough job. I trained as a police officer for a little while. Um, I didn't go through with it because of family things, but don't worry. But I understand the difficulty that they go through. But it's also because they don't get the support from the politicians, they don't get the support from their commissioners, they don't get support from their senior staff. So, from that, their job's at risk all the time. So, they're scared to make the wrong call. I'd rather you make a wrong call and we deal with it later and then we take learnings from it. Yeah, which we could do. And hopefully, Hampshire Constabulary are going to take huge learnings from this one because they need to change their attitude. And with all their diversity requirements about this American guy that, like the drug dealer that I can't remember his name, Floyd, George Floyd, when they took the knee for him, the BLM movement, it was an over. I think it just pushed the um, Overton window the wrong way, um, and it shouldn't have done. We shouldn't have pushed us more to this woke ideology because what we witness on a day-to-day basis is the woke ideology is quite divisive. But we want unity. We want people to stand up, stand together, and we want people to stand together with Henry. I don't let his loss be for nothing. Let's use this unfortunate situation that his family is going through. It's disgusting what they're having to go through. Let's kneel for Novak. Yeah, let's kneel for him. Let's show our solidarity and our support for him, his family. Let's learn. Let's be smart. Let's be safe and let's be kind because it can make a huge difference in the long run. And if anything to do with strokes, remember be fast. Balance, eyes, face, arms, speech, and time. Slightly off subject, but it's what I suffered with and I promote all the time. But with this Henry one, I do want people to understand it. We don't. We know he's been sentenced for 21 years, but what about his mum? What about his family that assisted to try and I can't remember the saying now, pervert the course of justice by taking the knife and hiding it, etc. They need to be held accountable too. But let's not think it's Sikhs have done this because I know personally a lot of the Sikhs that I've worked with are fantastic people and they have always worked hard in this country. They've always done their best in this country. It's just an unfortunate family, which could happen to any culture, any race, whatever. You'll always have a bad penny somewhere. You've always got bad families somewhere. So it's nothing to do with their religion, their colour, anything like that. And anybody that says that, you are the problem. You ultimately create more issues. It's you that sicken us. All right, let's stop this. Let's stand for Henry. Let's kneel for Novak. And let's get this out there. We need to see a prime minister that actually condemns this hugely because what he's done hasn't really enthused every working day people to think that he's got our safety and welfare at the heart of what he does, because he hasn't. He's proven it every time. Like, we got the Restore Britain gang inquiry, and people are attacking that. Oh, it's all for this, it's all for that. No, it's morally to do the right thing. If he hadn't have done this, those girls might not get any justice whatsoever, because our government hasn't done an independent inquiry. We have reform that hasn't done an independent inquiry. So all these people said they were going to do it, but they haven't done it. Restore did. You might not believe in their political views, but you've got to believe that they've done the morally correct thing. They went out their way, and they are going to look at doing private prosecutions. And you know what? We need to back them, because these people that have got away with all sorts, I won't go into it, but all sorts, they need to be held accountable. And that's anyone that's allowed that to carry on. Now, I know frontline nursing, frontline staff in most services is hard for them, because they don't necessarily have the support that they need to when they see these problems. Um, so it's not always their problem, but they are part of the problem as well, because the system is not there to help them. It's actually making it more difficult for them to put these safeguarding issues across. Yeah. Now, when you had homes delivering people and police officers abusing their position, this restore inquiry was needed, and it's put more of a torchlight on the whole problem. Yeah. And yet we're still talking about that he shouldn't have done it, he shouldn't have done this. But why not? He should have done it, because if he hadn't, we would be none the wiser. Yeah, sorry about that. Camera, microphone slipped. Um, and we're still not none the wiser, really. Yeah, but lots of people empowered it by not doing anything. So the apathy that they've done towards it is the problem. But it all stems back from, do we want to be racist or not? Do we want to be classnomic or not? Now, because that's running through the whole core of all the services and everything that we have, it's created issues. And we see it in this Novak. Yeah. And I feel sorry for the poor lad. I watched that film, that body cam of him, and it sickens me. As a decent human being, it sickens me. At no point was there any concern for that young man. They didn't show it. They did not show any concern whatsoever. And it is that that sickens me. The fact that humanity is turning into pure evil, not not necessarily because they are evil, but because of the lack of empathy, the lack of want, or the risk of being called something. Well, we're in a bad situation if we've allowed that to occur, haven't we? Yeah, we should be able to speak freely and not run the risk of being persecuted at work. So, like, the police officers were probably worried that they'd get persecuted if they said something towards this Sikh. Well, that's an issue. If they can't do their duties freely and then answer for it later, like they should be, but then if they're doing the right call and then get persecuted for doing the right call, then that's down to the leadership team. They need to be held accountable. So the commissioners, the duty commissioners or deputy commissioners, they all need to be held accountable. Now, I listened to that deputy commissioner, and it did nothing for me. It just was what I class as word waffle to make it seem like they're really sorry. If you were sorry, you'll change your processes. If you're really sorry and you want to make a difference, you will do actions that go against this DEI rubbish, because diversity, equity, and inclusion is a fantastic idea. It's a great ideology, but does it work? Not in principle, not in fact, not in reality, because we can see through how they treated Henry and how other people have treated through the NHS just because someone had a cross on their chest, right? That was seen to be offensive to someone. That's not diversity and inclusion and equity, is it? That's persecuting one person because of their beliefs. Well, no one's belief is more important than someone else's. It's all equal. And that's what the DEI was supposed to be, but it's being misused, misrepresented in many areas of our lives, and people suffer. And this is it. You've got the nurses that have lost their job just because they didn't agree with something, a teacher that just because he wouldn't call someone their pronoun, he's not working. It's that is disgusting in this day and age. Now, I'm sorry, this is not my normal content, but I just felt frustrated that these sickening things are happening more and more. We need to get back to being kind, being friendly, being nice, showing love and grace. And this is from everyone. This is from every culture, every race, every colour, every belief system, every ideology. You have to start being kind to each other. So if you're an Antifa thug, stop being that. Be kind to your fellow human. Be kind to every human around you. It doesn't cost much, it costs nothing. And you know what? Giving them a hug might make you feel better as well. Yeah, because we're not all here to hurt you. Not one of us is here to hurt each other. We don't want that. Most people just want to get on, enjoy their life with their family, like Novak's family wanted with their son. But they've lost that opportunity. And all that was caused by was wrong decisions. Yeah. And someone who went out of his way to attack another person that was different from him. Because his brother did state a white man. That in itself sort of should show you or highlight to you that there was a racist aspect to their crime. And if that's the case, it should be a hate crime. I think Tommy done a little rant earlier and he said that. And he's right. It should be a hate crime. And obviously, you can check on Hampshire's website about all their DEI rubbish that they put out there. That's what I think has affected their constabulary. And it's horrendous. Because this is what I said about what I seen with the doctor who treated me, how they had a preconceived idea of what the problem was. Well, that's why this poor young man is not here anymore. Stop having a preconceived idea. You must literally let go of that, get in the moment, and ask the right questions. What, why, how, where, when? All open questions. We know that. That's normal. Open questions give you answers. Yeah. But if they're not asking the question to start with, look at the end result. We lose a young man who was in his prime, literally early in his life at 18. He's only just come out of childhood, right, at 18. I'm the other end, I'm going the other way. But he is literally a youth. My boy's 4 years difference. Yeah. It's horrendous. But his family dealt with it in such dignity, in such a dignified manner. It was hard for them to do that. The dad, he held that together a damn sight more than I ever could. And I feel I'm sending him my love, sending him positive vibes because he needs it right now. Him and his family, every single one of them need our love. Yeah, because the decisions made on that day in Southampton were not right. But take some learnings from this. Hampshire, please. You need to reevaluate your training regime and how your staff and officers approach incidents that occur. Go in with an open mind frame. Don't go in closed minded. Go in with an open mind frame, listen and learn, because you'll get to the end answer in the end by asking all these questions. You'll find more out as it goes on. Yeah, but all my love to Henry and his family. My let's all kneel for Novak. Yeah, because they deserve it. We should show our solidarity. Let's unify under one thing and prove to this government and anyone else in the world that we can stand together and we stand with each other. These ceremonial knives are not needed anymore, right? Look at the reason why the Sikhs have these ceremonial knives. We shouldn't be having this in this culture. That was for their country, but it's been brought here and it was for oppression of them. Yeah, but we need to reevaluate that and say no. The 3-inch knife was the most you can carry, but it still has to be sheathed, still has to be blade, not a straight fixed blade, not a flick blade or anything like that. There's lots to it. Have a look at Daniel Shensmith, he goes through it. All right. But the only people I know that can have long knives, 21 centimeters, if not more, chefs, butchers, people who work with them. But there's requirements of them as well. They have to be rolled up, secured, in a box or something, so that they're not able to get used in any other way. They can carry them in their vehicles, but only if they're going to and from work, not just left in there all the time. Yeah, so come on, guys, let's sort this rubbish out. Right, we need to get ourselves sorted. Right, there's lots of things that need sorted. But guys, I just thought I wanted to have a little rant about this one because it just sickened me so much. Yeah, how people just get caught up with mind frame. All right, but my little burgers, love you. Take care. Be kind. Be happy. Be friendly. Be fast. Take care, guys. Love you all. Oosh.